all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the Great Millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Kiam. And once again, it's your brother Abawan, Shabbat Shalom. I always usually forget to say that during the Shabbat, right? But yeah, right now it's a Shabbat, and I recently did a video going into that about how the Sabbath and the high holy days are celebrated. But that's not the point right now. And I'm going to go into a dream that I had. And usually I don't actually have dreams, or at least not dreams concerning this truth. My dreams are always super random. Things that happened to me, or I saw, I watched throughout the day, and or random things like that, or even no dreams at all. But today, man, I had a really deep and heavy dream concerning this truth. It was wild, okay? And basically what happened in the dream. But before I go into that, I want to actually get this. And basically, this was the whole premise of the dream, as our Lord Yahushua said, that him that had left wives, right, or brethren, and riches and lands and so on and so forth. Let me see if I can get that precept. So, all right, here it is. So I want to start from. Okay, I'll start from here. Mark 10, verse 23. And Yahushua looks around about and saith unto his disciples, how hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of the Most High? And the disciples were astonished at his words, but Yahushua answered again and saith unto them, children, how hard is it for them that trust in riches to enter into the kingdom of the Most High? It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And they were astonished out of measure, saying among themselves, who then can be saved? And Yahushua looking upon them saith, with men it is impossible, but not with the Most High. For with the Most High, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushua, all things are possible. And this is the point right here. Then Peter began to say unto him, lo, we have left all and have followed thee. And Yahushua answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house, or brethren, or sister, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands for my sake and the gospel's, but he shall receive 100-fold. Now in this time houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecutions, and in the world to come eternal life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last first. All right. And basically, in the dream, what happened is that I was sitting in my apartment, like I am right now, and I was waiting for, the signal from. Now I was talking with the Apostle Taha, the elder Apostle Taha of Great Millstone, and he was talking about how, oh yeah, he's already in Nigeria. Where am I at? Where am I at? That I should put up a signal that I should put up a signal so I can know, so he can know where I'm at. I should put up a smoke signal. Like they usually did in the old days. That you would, if you wanted to signify where you are, you would burn, you set up a little campfire. You let the smoke, let the smoke go up so that people can see where you actually at. So I was like, I can't really do that because first and foremost, no firewood anywhere. I can't even light that fire right now. I'm wondering how am I going to do that? Where am I going to get the materials for all of that? And then, well, actually, well, if the ironic thing is, I'm actually talking on the phone. So he now said that, what, I should just step outside and what, I should just step outside. And he had already set up his own smoke signal. So I went outside and I saw the smoke signal and I was like, no, there's no way. I walked up to it and that was the Apostle Taha right there, right at the front of my gate. And so he went in, he started fellowshipping with each other, talking with each other. Talking with each other, he asked me how I got into the truth. I basically told him, and I haven't really, talked too much about how I actually came into the truth because I don't really like talking about myself that much. And that's something that I picked up from the world, because people didn't really, and even up till now, people didn't really care about my opinions like that. But basically, I came into this truth. There was a YouTuber called Chronicles of Judah. He was always going into the truth, touching on it very lightly. He'll say, oh, well, the Most High's name is Yahweh, his son's name is Yahweh Shai. Jake was ruling in medieval Europe, okay, going into all kinds of things like that, that we are with that. But he never really said that we were the Israelites, but he did say that the Lord Yahweh Shai and the Most High Yahweh, our dark fleshed, dark skinned man. We would always talk about the truth, but very indirectly in passing. He wouldn't really go into deep detail concerning the scriptures. What he was more concerned with was talking about, all the pagan aspects of this kingdom. So he will tell you that, oh, well, the Oscars will go back to, you know, Egypt. He will tell you about what all the practices in this kingdom go back to, but he will never really go into the scriptures like that. Okay. He'll watch, what he was doing was making commentaries, pseudo spiritual commentaries on sports, on celebrity gossip, so on and so forth. Okay. And me being the curious person that I was, especially when it comes to things of the scriptures, well, how could be the Most High's name be Yahweh? How could his son's name be Yahweh Shai? Let me go and find out. Let me go and find out. So I decided to do some more digging into it, right? Go on Google, type in Yahweh. Go on Google, type in Yahweh Shai. And that time, Jake in Babylon the Great pronounces words differently than we do here in Nigeria. So sometimes, when the brother says some things, now I confuse the spelling sometimes. I have to autocorrect and spell check all of that. So I was just looking through it, and you know how it is in the Google. They during that time they never brought out any good information concerning these things. Okay, so I had to just keep watching him to try and see if I could get any more context clues or something that I could actually use that would give me more concrete information. So after a while, the elder Malcolm I finally got recommended to me. And I watched the first video. The first video that got recommended to me was Esau Edom is going into slavery. Okay, and being a Christian, simple at that time, you can imagine what seeing the white man is going to slavery is was like. That's a whole culture shock right there. I believe the word that they usually use is I've forgotten the terminology. I believe the word that they use is something like a existential crisis, something like that. Like your whole world just gets turned upside down. Well, it wasn't really that bad. So I clicked on the video, I was like, what's going on? What is he talking about? And he was just talking about how Esau is going into slavery, right? Esau is the so-called, Esau is the so-called white man. And Chronicles of Judah, he didn't really go into that as well. Okay, I think he might have mentioned it in one of his videos, but not, but he didn't go into it too much. So like, how is Esau the so-called white man? And then when I asked the question, the other Malcolm, I went into the precept. That is Genesis 25, right? That Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment. I think that should be somewhere around here. Hold on. Here it is. Genesis 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. That's when everything was clicking sharp, sharp. Like, wait, the only children that come out red, the only babies that come out looking red are actually Edomites. Okay. So if Esau Edom came out like okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because I know about albinoism, which is basically, when two dark skinned people have a child and the child comes out, pale without pigments, that kind of thing. So it is very possible for, Jacob and Rebecca, which are dark skinned people, to give birth to so called, pale or a red man or a white man in this case. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But then what about Esau Edom going into slavery? And for Esau Edom going into slavery, that is in Revelation 13:10. And he was bringing out these precepts like right to show that this is proof of why I say, Esau Edom is a so-called white man. This precept, this precept, this precept. Esau Edom is going to slavery. This precept, this precept, this precept. And as I was going through it, as I was going in the precept, I paused the video. I'll pick up I'll pick up the scriptures. I'll be like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, right here. This is where he said it. Look at it. In the spirit, open my eyes at the time. Okay, makes sense. Continue on. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. There is the patience and the faith of the saints. And even at the time, and this is how I know that the Spirit was really dealing with me heavy back then. Even at the time, with my limited knowledge, once I read this precept, I was like, yeah, Esau has to go into slavery, okay, because he did do all that. He did lead into captivity. So even he has to go into captivity. And I didn't really entirely even understand this precept at the time. But at least I accepted it. I was like, okay, well, the scripture said it, so it must be true. They didn't really know that the Spirit was, dealing with me to even accept all of that. Just that, well, it's in the scriptures. He read it, and it's true. These are precepts that I've never even actually seen in the scriptures before. The Spirit just opened my eyes as soon as I started watching the elder Malcolm's videos. And from there, it continued on. I was looking for more brothers, right? I found the elder Mount Azakba, found the brothers in London, found the apostles and continue watching the video from there, growing in experience, growing in knowledge, until I eventually got enough confidence to go out to the highways and byways, which was a big deal for me because like for throughout that year that I was learning the truth. And if anybody that knows me knows that I'm a very, reserved person. I don't really talk to people all that much. I don't go out. I don't have too many friends or any friends at all. Okay, and I hate, going out. Like, I even hate going out, man. But this ministry, this truth is too important for me to start making excuses on it. And brothers usually do videos going into that, expressing how much and how important going out to the highways and byways and making the videos are, which of course it very much is. And that is, the major reason why I went out there, because the elders, the apostles, all the brothers are going into it and doing it, and the scriptures even say that we should be going out to the highways and byways as well, that we should be doing the work as it is written. Let's get that. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. Let me start with that. That is First or Second Timothy. I forget. Second Timothy, yes. Second Timothy 4 verse 1. I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahushai HaMashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. So we that are in this truth, we that know the truth, especially we that know the 100% truth. If you see the Wakitake Christians out there, if you see the Hebrew Israelite camps that constantly go off in their doctrine out there, why is it that you that has the 100% truth are not out there as well? You're not doing the videos, you're not doing the sit downs, and you're not doing the camp videos as well, because even the scriptures tell you to make full proof of thy ministry. So if you start with doing sit downs, you should also be doing camp videos, okay? Because you still need to go out to the highways and byways and teach. You still need to go out to the highways and byways and preach the word, because what you're doing is you're supposed to be making, doing everything you can to get this word out there. Doing everything you can to get this word out there, okay? So yeah, back to what I was saying. And that's basically, the summary of how I got into the truth. I told, well, not really that long, but I gave him the short version, from Chronicles of Judah to Amalkama to all the brothers that are in the truth and eventually coming to the point that I am, okay? We're all talking like normal, and here my brother comes in, right? And I say that I introduce my brother to the Apostle Taha. And he looks at me, looking all pissed off, vexed, and he just runs away. Brings it, the later on continues to bring my parents in. My parents are complaining and saying, oh, well, I shouldn't be hanging out with this guy. This is a bad influence on me. They started complaining and saying that I should get him out of the house, I should kick him out of here, that why am I following this kind of person, that kind of thing, okay? And when I heard that, I got upset, I got mad. I was like, no, do you know who this is? This is their first, I was hype, I was hyping him up, like, this is their first tool. This is the leader one, this is the leader of our people. I was trying to get them to understand the truth. And really, looking back at the dream, it was going into, how my journey began in this truth, because that was exactly everything that happened, from one stage to the other, right? I come into the truth, and in this case, what the Apostle Tahar represented was wisdom, right? Was this and the Holy Spirit, the word, this truth basically. And once I saw the truth, left my, once I saw the truth, I left basically the house being like, now I'm doing all these weird breakdowns they usually see people do concerning that you see all these how everything is a metaphor in the dream. So the house represents my comfort zone. Had to come out, embrace the truth, and then slowly grow, slowly learning the truth. And when you are learning in this truth, you first reach the stage where you try to share the truth, right, with everybody that you know. So let me get this precept right here. And even the scriptures tells you that. Um, hold on, I'll take it about different precepts. Now I'm thinking of a different precept. Another time to go into that. I'm thinking of a different precept. Basically, I'm trying to share this truth with everybody that you know, right? Your parents, your family members, and of course, start with my brothers because those are the people that I'm most comfortable with. None of my brothers accepted the truth. They said that, oh, some of the things make sense, but they weren't really, about to go into the truth with me, right? And I told my parents, they completely rejected it. They went completely against it, even going as far as going out of their way to try to stop me from going to camp, try to stop me from doing video, try to stop me from being a part of this truth. They want me to come back into the world. They want me to come back into the church. My relationship with my parents is pretty shaky because of all that. Okay. I told my parents that look, that and basically going back to the dream, I was complaining to my parents that look, that I'm not living this truth, that I'm not going to kick him out, I'm not going to chase him away or anything like that, right? And basically from there the dream switched to a supermarket, okay? So now at this point, my parents got mad. They left the house, and even my brother left the house with them. Left the house with them, and the house turned into a supermarket, right? So in the supermarket, people were now coming in, and they were trying to buy things, and basically it was closed down. I closed it up because I was like, what, screw this, I'm leaving. I'm leaving as well. And so I went to start packing my bags and going. The apostle was right there with me, just watching and seeing everything that was happening, right? So as I was packing my things, I locked my room. I locked my room because I went into a room that was in this supermarket that had all my clothes and all my stuff in it. So I locked my room and I started packing up, packing up, packing up. And then when I was packing up, the door became unlocked. My mother opened the door. She was complaining. She was like, "No, that I'm not going anywhere. That I have to take, I have to basically, I'm not going anywhere. But the apostle Taha had to go. Okay, and my father came in and said the same thing, And basically, when the apostle was like, all right, I'm leaving. And he left, okay. They just went out, and he left. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. That he's not going anywhere. That's, and when he left, I chased after him. My parents are shouting my name, like, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Come back here, come back here. But I didn't want to hear them, I chased after him, looking around. I left my streets, started looking for where he was. And basically, as I came out the door, right, of my house, there was a festival, a party going on everywhere. So all the roads were blocked. Everything was blocked. I was running around like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I was trying to look for him. And while I was running around chasing after him, left all my stuff behind in the house, left all the clothes, left all the, everything I wanted to pack up, left all my property. And when I was chasing him, I realized that, I'm completely naked chasing this guy in the streets. But I didn't want to go back to the house because I realized that I have to call back the apostle, the apostle. It is, I have to call back I have to call back the apostle. I have to find the apostle. So I was looking around like, okay, let me try, setting that fire again, right? In order to call him out, okay? And that was when I woke up. When I decided that, look, I can't see him. And I've already come out of the street. I've looked for him everywhere, okay? I can't find him. So let me set that fire and see if he will see the fire and come to me, right? And basically, what I got from that dream, or the idea that I believe that dream is trying to represent, is, basically, how you act when you find the truth. And let me get that parable. Is it the kingdom of heaven? It's like a man that buyeth a field, right? Let me get that. A man has see. Let me just bring out those precepts. Hold on. Here it is. So this is the book of Matthew 13, verse 44. No, let me start from the top. Let me start from the top. Okay, this is the one. Okay. Okay. So Matthew 13, verse 44. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath and buyeth that field. And that was why I started with that precept that I did in the book of Matthew. That basically, for this truth, I was willing to abandon everything, right? My family, you know, whatever I had in the world, okay, the family business as well, which that supermarket represented, because this supermarket was owned by my parents, and it's funny because my parents don't actually own a supermarket, right? But we do have, my father does have a lucrative business, dealing in trade. He was an entrepreneur, and my mother was doing the same business with him. Family and everything that I had in the world, I was willing to abandon it for the truth. Now, let me explain something once again before they now start saying, oh, well, you see, GMS are following Apostle Taha. The men that are, you see, they got that brother in Nigeria, he's following Apostle Taha. This, the Apostle Taha in the dream was not, the actual Apostle Taha. It was a representation of this truth, okay, this knowledge, this ministry, this word, okay, the spirit of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Ba'asham Rakak Wadash. Because ultimately, majority of the apostles and the brothers that are in this truth, directly learned from the from the apostle Taha, okay, which is why you had him be the representation of the truth in my dream. So I was willing to forgo everything, right, leave everything that I had in the world in order to chase after the truth, okay. And that was how it was back even before I got into this truth, man. I was not very very smart with the way I was going up. I was very smart with it, so but at this point right now, okay, the urgency of how, the zeal rather that we have for this truth, right, in order to try and get, you know what am I thinking about right now, in order to try and get into the kingdom, or in order to come back to our heritage, to repent, that is how it should be, the same way it was in the dream, right? Where we chase after it, abandon everything and come after the truth, which is why, it was so, which is why, you see in the scriptures, right, the disciples, and of course I'll go to that as well, but let me finish getting this. So now, Matthew 13, verse 45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. And that is how this truth is, that once you find the truth, everything else becomes like, how does that go again? Dross. I think that's the term. Basically, the truth becomes the only treasure that you have or need. That you are willing to they are willing to sell everything you have. You're willing to abandon everything you have just in order to get the truth, just in order to receive the truth, which is what that dream represented. That is how, every sincere man of the Lord should be. You are willing to chase after the truth. You are willing to chase after wisdom and righteousness. Okay, follow that straight path. So many different parables and precepts to use in order to explain and emphasize how much more important this truth is than any other thing, as it is written, seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushua and his righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you, right? But let's continue reading. Let me see if I can get more precepts. Okay, so now I want to go to this, and that should be Simon and Andrew, if I remember correctly. Simon Peter, right? His brother's name was Andrew. Yes, is it? So this is the book of Matthew 4, verse 18. And Yahushua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. Right? I know you might see that precept and wonder, they didn't even know who this guy was. They didn't even understand anything. They just said him say, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And they were like, okay, left. And if you read these precepts, they left, their, what, this is it right here. Matthew 4, verse 21. And going on from thence, he saw the other two brethren, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in a ship with Zebedee, their father, mending their nets. And he called them, and they immediately left the sheep and their father and followed him. So this is the one I was looking for, James and John, how the Allah Yahweh called unto them as well, follow me. And they left their father, left the sheep, left everything that they were doing and decided to follow and follow the Lord Yahweh. You see how instant that was, that immediately, that basically, and you'll be thinking that, well, all the Lord had to say to them was follow me, right? And they followed him. And that is how, usually is with some brothers where the thing is just instant, right? That as soon as they hear the call, as soon as they see the spirits, as soon as they just see a little bit of the spirits, okay, or they hear the call, right? They just instantly drop everything they are doing and going, and fully go 100% into the truth, right? While some other brothers need a little more time to, get everything together, right? They get everything together. In other words, get more understanding, grow a little more in knowledge before they can fully accept the truth, right? And that was basically different measures of faith and the spirit. Okay, and me, the reason why I was so easily able to accept the truth is because back then I was really young, right? I didn't have anything doing in my life. I wasn't, no family, no problems, no headache, no nothing in the world to actually keep me, in the world, basically. I didn't really have anything that was in the world that I would look back to that was truly important to me. Okay, well, I though my family and everything was important, but this truth is more important. I didn't have anything that could hold me down or anything that I was like I didn't really have anything like that could strong that's anything firm in the world that could stop me from coming into this truth. And that was why it was so easy for me to come into the truth, right? Which is why, even in the scriptures, the Most High is always calling the young men, those that haven't yet gotten any, those that haven't yet, that which is those that haven't yet gotten any property or any things or any property in the world that can distract them from the truth, basically. In some terms, those that don't have anything to lose. And that was why it was so easy for me to accept the truth, or at least that's what I think. But ultimately, it's all based on the measure of the spirit that was given to us by Yahweh Sham Yahushai. And ultimately this was just how it was meant to be for me to be in the truth. Okay, but now continuing on, right? When you have a taste of that truth, man, you don't want to let it go. You have a taste of the understanding, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and you don't want to let it go, no matter how much resistance may come upon you. And let me get this piece out as well. Think not that I am come to bring peace on earth, right? You go to the Christian church, and that's all they tell you about: the peace of the Lord, the peace of the Lord, the peace of the Lord, right? They'll say that, oh, well, his sword is not coming onto the land. That's in Jeremiah 14, from the 14th verse on down, right there. Matthew 10, verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man, for I am come to set a man as variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's foes shall be there of his own household. And just in case my family is watching, no, they're not really watching anyway, they don't care about the truth. But I'm not trying to say that, oh well, my family is now my enemy or anything like that. But ultimately, I would be my family's enemy. I'm not making any aspersions or any what's the term I'm looking for? I went to go and say aspersions, but I'm not making any, I'm not confused about that. That ultimately, when the time comes when Esau Edom rolls up, right? Revelation 12, verse 12, right? The devil comes down onto you having great wrath, and they tell you, give up that child of yours that has been doing and they'll put a horrible spin on it. You know how Esau Edom is, man. And my family, they are still deep into the world, they are still deeply rooted in the ways of the world. So if Esau tells them something, they're just going to nod their head and go with it. My parents, okay, so not my mother, but all of my family members, they got the the juicy J. You know what it is, right? So they are still heavy in the world. And that was before it was even mandated, right? They got it because they were already predict. My father got it because he was already predicting that okay, it's going to be mandated. I'll get it. My brother got it as well. All my brothers got it, and I specifically told them, don't take that stuff, man. Okay, that is don't take that stuff. I wasn't even telling my father. Got into a whole argument with him, and he was like, I took it, nothing happened to me. That kind of thing. But you never know. But after he took it, man, his health got significantly worse. Okay, that's why my brothers, they took it. I think they are okay right now, but you can't tell. It's only, you can't tell the long term effects of this kind of thing. But ultimately, what that showed me is that when the sea heap comes, they're going to take it that way as well. Because right now, my father has to do a lot of international traveling, so he needed to do, so he took it, but he didn't need to. But he didn't need to, which is the thing, okay? Because the country that is always traveling to, Japan, right? I don't think they had a heavy mandate like that on the um vaccinations, at least during the time that he traveled. Because because he was in the country during the pandemic. He came back after the after sometime after the lockdown stopped. Okay, then he was in the country. He was in Nigeria all throughout. The whole mandating craze until all those juice mandates began to ease off, and he traveled again. But he didn't really need. But he only took one. Hit of the juicy juice. He didn't take the second, the third, and the boosters. Right? He only took one, and my brother only took one as well. But that's the thing, even taking it once is still good. It's still somewhat going off, because now it shows that when the time for the sea hip comes, you will take it as well. And that was basically what I was just thinking. I was like, damn, man, I need to get out of here. Yeah, and that's but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. This truth has caused a huge divide in the relationship between me and my family members. I don't even talk to them or relate with them all that much, because every single time I go to my auntie's house, I go to my uncle's house, I go to my cousin's house, it's all the same thing. Oh, you're still doing that Hebrew Israelite thing, that kind of thing, ah, in a and they always call it Judaism, like I'm following the small heart, okay, which is another, which is still more confusion, because they don't entirely understand this truth. All right, and no matter how much I try to explain it to them, they don't want to get it, because they still see me as just the normal, they still see me as who, the child that I originally was, okay. And which is why the scriptures also say that a prophet is not respected or revered in his. Let me see if I can get that precept. A prophet is not. I've forgotten how that precept goes. And they always bring it out in the church. A prophet is not this. A prophet is not that. That was our Lord. It was one of the statements of our Lord Yahweh Shai. Yeah, a prophet is not with honor in his own house. Okay. Matthew 13, verse 57. And they were offended in him, but Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor save in his own country and in his own house. Right. So basically, a prophet is not honored. Now, let me see if I can get another translation, because that one isn't quite, understandable. It's a little bit confusing. But basically, what it says is that a prophet is without honor in his own house. Okay. Let me get this. This is the NLT. And they were deeply offended and refused to believe in him. Then Yahushua told them, A prophet is honored everywhere except in his hometown, in his own hometown, and among his own family. And now I'm feeling that right now. Every time I go out to the highways and byways, and you brothers can confirm this by watching my camp videos, you see Jake just pass on by. They might look a little bit because it's a marvel, a new thing, right? A brother that is out there in garments, preaching the gospel with the signs and the camp signs and everything. They don't even look at me, they look more at the signs than me, and they just keep on walking by. Jake don't really, he aren't really curious to know what's going on here. What are you talking about? What is this ministry that you're trying to teach? Nothing like that. They just look and continue and keep it moving, right? Well, it is what it is, Sha. We still preach the gospel. Even the scriptures tells you that is Ezekiel 37, prophesy unto the wind. Okay. So that's basically all I have to say concerning that. And that's the whole situation right there. You just finally got a spiritual dream after all these years. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit, I hope you Akim and you are edified. Shalom.